Uh, Welcome to the November 19th meeting of the Bylaw Review Committee of the Town Council, being presented via Zoom. The first topic of discussion would be on the minutes is approval of the approval of two sets of minutes, the October 21 minutes and the November 4 minutes. So starting with October 21. Has everybody had a chance to look at these?
Yep.
I think that was one of the ones I was out for.
Yeah, well, Ralph and I were not there. I think you were there, Bill.
Okay, because I know I wasn't there on the 4th, but go ahead.
Right.
October 21st was just Bill and Tom and myself.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. I'll move to accept.
Second.
Okay, there's only two of us that can,
Who seconded?
Tom.
Okay.
So there's only three of us that can vote for this. So I'll start with Bill,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and myself, Pat, yes. So that's three. That's unanimous among those who, we have, I guess everyone else is abstain. The November 4th. At that meeting, we basically just had myself and Tom Christensen. Tom, have you had a chance to look at the minutes?
I have. I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second it by necessity. And ask for a vote. Tom?
Yes.
And myself, Pat Henry, yes. So those minutes are also approved, brief though they may be. I should really ask if anyone who was not at the meeting had any questions about those.
No, I'm good.
Ralph, did you have a chance to look at them?
I didn't have any questions. I'm good.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Hey, guys, I'm going to sign out and try and sign back in again because I can barely hear anyone.
Okay.
Okay, Bill, you think we finished your stuff, right?
I've got notes that said we did.
And Tom, I believe we finished your stuff?
That's correct.
And I believe we finished mine, but there may be some open issues that I want to proceed. I would suggest that we can start with the ones that were initially distributed to Tom O'Connor, which I took over. Any better, Ralph?
Oh, that's much better.
Okay, good.
All right. We're going to start then with A11 and go as far as we can, A11 through A20. Initially was Tom O'Connor, and I have had a chance to look at them and print the pages and gone through all the detail that I have. So I guess I got to lead this discussion. And it starts
Yeah.
with A11, if everybody can find that.
Let's see what this document is.
That page A7.
Ah,
That should be page A11.
A11.
Oh,
Not sure what you're looking
oh,
at.
I see. Oh, you're on pages. I was looking at questions. Okay. I'm getting my head back in the game.
there you go.
A11. Okay, got it. Starts with the numbers 2 and 3, right?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I
starts-
see.
It actually starts with something that we discussed 2 meetings ago, which was how we're going to separate the building commissioner from the planning and community development department and the planning department. Which I know we had made a decision that we would remove the building department from that section because he does not report to the head of the
Planning.
planning and community development. So the planning and community development was left where it is with the planning department beneath it. But the building department was made its own department. Jeannie, do you have that?
That was probably in the minutes from, outlined in the minutes from that meeting. I'm trying to see. I got paper and I got,
Because that carries over from 9, 10, and 11. Says Counselor Page moved that under chapter 115 should be
yep,
Article 1, Planning and Community Development. Article 2, Building Department. Article 3, Planning Department.
that's from the October 7 meeting, right?
That's from October 7.
Yeah.
However, that is not the way I remember it.
Was the motion approved?
Yeah, the minutes were approved too.
Because
Yeah.
doesn't that make it sound like the Article 2 is under Article 1? Or that Article 3 is not under Article 1?
So Pat, if I remember correctly, in the charter, we had talked about, the charter specifically says that a community, planning and community development department will be created. As part of that, you will have a building department, you will have a planning department, and that's all labeled in the charter. So although the building department doesn't report to the director of the planning and community development, they're in charge to make sure everything works because it's all related to the same community development. I believe you'll find it under chapter 10 transition.
Yeah, I've got it.
Well, that came up the other night during a charter meeting too.
So what did we decide then? We decided that in spite of the fact that the planning, that the building commissioner does not report to the head of planning and community development, that we would leave the bylaws as though they were one area, one section,
That's my recollection.
as the motion says. Chapter 115 would be Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. Okay. I can see where that comes from, Ralph.
Yep.
I
That was a
believe,
long discussion.
well, I
Yeah.
believe what happened is we may have made one decision and Ralph came in and botched it all up
I did.
by pointing out the charter as though that was
Yeah.
important. Okay. Thank you, Ralph.
You're welcome.
Good man. Okay, so then we can move away from that and all the way to A11, Chapter 119, Public Works. And my notes on that say this is all new material, some of which was formerly in the Board of Public Works, which is now Chapter 175. And that's, Tom, I assume that's something you did and Bruce looked at, and I found that to be what we submitted.
Correct. So, and I think that what you had said, what Mr. O'Connor had said was that there's a lot of information or verbiage that was in the bylaws that didn't necessarily make it over to our new write-ups.
That is true, and I noticed that, yes.
Right. So,
I
but
don't-
again, these are our descriptions. I think we took a lot of that information in here and then either, left it vague or sort of at least structured them all the same way.
You used a template, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Use a template. And the only concern we might have is that there were some details in that particular write-up. But it's also true of many of the other write-ups. If we want to say health department, we want to say planning and
Right.
community development, that there were a number of detail items that were removed as we adopted a standardized format.
Right.
It would be hard to say whether any of those were critical to anybody. They obviously met the requirements of the department because the department was always informed as to what we were putting in there. And oftentimes the department, most times it was the department itself, truncated it and simplified it and brought it down.
Right.
But it is an issue that I have not brought forward to the council.
Right. And I think, like you said last week, if you were to write down everything that department does, obviously it'd be lengthy, but you'd also, every time something changed, you'd have to change the bylaw.
Right.
So that's more of a rules and regs kind of thing. But
Like an internal document
right.
of the,
Yeah.
and what, I forget what meeting we were at, but it resulted in me saying that I should email every department head and say, do you have mission statement, bylaws, anything, rules and regs that's internal to any of your departments or boards or commissions? And if so, please send them to me. Not that we're going to put them in here, but at least the clerk's office should have a record of that.
We talked about that in the last meeting, I think.
Which meeting?
Didn't we? That
No.
I haven't
sounds
been-
familiar.
I haven't been one of these meetings in a couple weeks, 3 weeks.
No, but
That's
that discussion sounds familiar, and we just
Yeah, I
lost
know.
Pat.
I know.
But that whole thing, I forget what, I'm on so
Maybe
many
it was
things.
charter. Charter
Maybe it
review.
was charter,
Yeah,
because that sounds real familiar.
yeah. I have it on my to-do list to do that.
Okay.
But I don't like people using the word bylaws, especially now, because it just causes confusion, like the library trustees, and it's sort
Well,
of
that's
ammo for them,
that discussion's just going to be, that's going to keep going.
Right.
I don't see an easy fix to that one.
Did Pat leave us?
He probably cracked that bottle.
So there's no changes in for chapter 119. Is that what we're saying?
well, I think Tom's point and what Pat was trying to reiterate for Tom was that there was a lot of information. We'll say Board of Public Works, because I have it right here in front of me, that didn't get into the Department of Public Works,
Right.
Well, it shouldn't.
the new one, and it
But the Board of Public Works is going to be listed separately than the
Correct.
Department of Public Works.
correct.
So I
I
think
think-
that's all we did is we separated those two.
And multi-member
Correct.
bodies?
Correct,
Yep.
but.
Yep.
That's right. But the point being, there were a lot of things listed in Board of Public Works and there was no Department of Public Works in the bylaws before.
Right.
So there's a lot of information listed in Board of Public Works that is now eliminated.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm
Guys,
saying?
my
That,
motor
I think, hey, there he is.
Hey,
My
welcome
motor-
back.
My motor's off. Just quit on me.
I understand the issues.
We can barely hear you, Pat.
Even now?
It's choppy.
Choppy.
It's an old modem.
That's better.
My high CPU usage is affecting the modem. That must be because I have all the documents up.
Yeah.
Am I okay?
Yeah.
You are
sound
now.
good.
All right, well, so, Tom, you were in the middle of telling me something and you froze and you
No,
were
that's
saying,
right. We kept talking about, I think when Tom went through this initially, he just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that there was so essentially there was just the Board of Public Works when it came to Public Works in the old bylaw. Now we have a Department of Public Works and a Board of Public Works. And a lot of the old information is not in either of the two new chapters.
Right. And some of it is. Some of it has been moved. Yep.
Right. And some of it really, quite honestly, doesn't need to go.
Right. That's what you were saying. And I agree.
Okay.
But the problem is if it was in the old bylaws and it's removed, it could be considered a significant change because it might have protected somebody, some group, or it might have forced the operations of a department in a certain way, restricted them in a certain way that would be of interest to the town. So that's my only issue. And I never thought of it. Obviously no one else did either. It just seemed to make sense. Streamlining, clarifying, removing items that shouldn't be bylaw issues, as you might say, Tom.
Right.
They're really operational issues.
Right. So, but
Which would create,
sorry, Bill.
no, that's okay. Which would create an internal document that they all should have.
Or many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which they might or might not
Right.
save those or use those or, but I don't think we can resolve it. We're in the nth hour. And so we need to probably move on in spite of that. And I need to decide how to raise this.
Yeah. So I think that's what you said last week was at some point that has to be brought to everyone's attention that, you know, these are potentially big changes.
I believe so.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Okay, the next one is on 812. And that's the rec department. Chapter 126. And I would have the same observations there that there was, some of this was in the rec commission, chapter 255, but I found it to be what we submitted. Anybody feel differently?
No, it makes sense.
So I'm checking it off. Next item would be 131, school department. And this again is all new material, but again, some of it comes from the school committee, which is now chapter 260. But I have a question of Bill.
Yes,
Is it-
sir.
Is there really such a thing as a school department?
Yes.
Because it's not in the old bylaws.
No, I know that. The school department is actually central office.
Right, okay. So you have no trouble with that. I don't.
No, I read through it. It's fine.
Good, okay. Not finding in the old bylaws, I was like, oh, uh-oh, I gotta ask Bill.
No,
Okay, the
we're good.
next one is on page 813. And 131-4. Again, it's still part of the school itself, but the charter says that the school committee is responsible for the report, not the superintendent.
What we do is we charge the superintendent with writing the report and then presenting it to us for approval.
We need to reflect the charter appropriately, though, would be my observation.
I think it is reflected properly in the charter.
Yeah,
I feel like we had this conversation when we were doing this
We did.
draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I remember you saying that the school committee charges the superintendent to prepare that report.
Right.
So is it a question of verbiage is what you're saying, Pat, that it actually says school committee?
no, it actually, yeah, in the charter it says school committee, and here it says superintendent. Doesn't say the superintendent shall prepare and submit to the school committee a report.
Well,
I'm suggesting that perhaps this requirement should go back under school committee rather than under school department.
Well,
So to make this go with the charter, we could say the school committee shall annually submit. And that way there, they have the option to have the superintendent prepare it. And then it would be submitted by the school committee.
I would agree.
that works.
I
So
think
just
that's,
delete,
So that's, so you're making well, then you're sort of listing a duty or responsibility of the school department as the school committee.
No, we move it under school committee, Tom.
Yeah.
But,
So
but
take-
we could leave the responsibility of the superintendent of schools to prepare a report to the school committee, could we not?
but whose in report is it? Is it the school department's?
It's a school department report.
So maybe it is in the right place.
I think it's in the right place.
Doesn't matter who prepares it, it's the annual report of the school department.
It
Right.
doesn't sync with the charter, though. The charter says it's the responsibility of school committee.
Right.
As specified in town bylaw.
Is that what it says?
That's
that
what
what
it
it says?
says.
That's what it says.
Okay, so I'm not hearing that people want to put any responsibility of the superintendent of schools here in this section, but instead move the entire responsibility for the furnishing of the report without saying who prepares it into the school committee.
So just removing that section altogether from chapter 131?
Yes,
Yeah.
Removing it?
I move we remove 131-4 in its entirety. And we add the statement, the school committee shall annually submit to the town manager a report that shall contain all matters pertaining to the school department as required by the town manager. So basically, most of the verbiage of that sentence. But starting off, the school department, no, the
School committee.
committee shall annually prepare and submit to the town manager, blah, blah, blah. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Pat, further discussion?
Yes,
So what you want to add in, are you going to add under school committee, chapter 260, which is under the
Yes.
multiple member body? That
Yes.
language? Okay. I'm good
So
with
add the
that.
statement, so I can add that into the motion?
yes,
Add the statement into, Ralph, what was that chapter?
260.
Chapter 260.
School committee?
Yep.
Okay.
So Pat, would we be looking to do another subsection like 260-4
Absolutely. I just
annual
don't have it-
report?
Yeah, I just don't have it in front of me. Yes, another section just as it is here. 260-4, Jeannie?
I don't have that one up either. Let me see.
Yes, that's where it would go.
I trust Ralph.
I've,
Thank you, Ralph.
the questions, Schedule A, page A19, the school committee's listed in here. It's got membership, then vacancies, then powers and duties, and then we would put the annual report. Perfect.
Yeah, that's right, okay.
Okay, at least we're consistent with the charter. Before we leave school committee, Bill, I have another question for you.
Fire
We-
away.
I think you voted on that.
Oh, wait a
We're gonna
minute.
vote on
Wait a
that.
minute.
Vote
We gotta
on
vote
that.
on that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay, motion made and seconded. Requires a roll call vote. Bill,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and myself, Pat, is a yes. Thank you, Jeannie. Okay, Bill, my question is, the old bylaws,
Yes.
section 4.090, specify the details that must be in the report. Long list of what the report shall contain. I don't think anybody deliberately removed it.
It probably should be in the it's got to be in the bylaw.
We had, at other times, we have removed the detail of what should be in the bylaws or simplified it, such as with the fire and the police and so forth. But I agree that it should stay in the bylaw. It would do no harm.
I don't have that. I don't have that document up, so I
got
don't
it.
know what it's,
The old bylaws,
You want me to read?
yeah.
it's on the
There's-
town website.
There's 5, Bill. You want me to read them?
Go ahead.
It says the report shall contain 1, a report of the year's work in the schools with such recommendations and suggestions regarding educational work as they deem fitting. 2, the school calendar for the year. 3, a tabulated statement of membership, attendance, and truancy for each school. 4,
Oh, God.
4, a statement of their expenditures and receipts during the year. And 5, a list of teachers.
I don't know why that would, truancy and attendance in an annual report doesn't make any sense. A list of the teachers doesn't make any sense. When was, can you see the date when that was
No.
voted on?
Ooh. Of course, I just turned the page.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
You're not going to find it in there.
not going to be in there.
Because that, to me, that doesn't make any sense. I can understand, what was accomplished. A list of expenditures. We've got a $53 million budget. That's going to take, or a $31 million budget. That's going to take forever.
Well, no, you probably already have that. You hand the
Yeah,
budget in with all the expenses and.
Yeah, but to pull it all up, I don't know if
You
that
do,
needs to be.
But I think you pretty much do that anyways.
I'm not sure. I don't recall what's in it.
I would think the town might be interested in truancy rates as just an example, but I'm not pushing one way or another.
So I'm
So-
looking in the, go ahead.
Sorry, so if I understand correctly, the town has always created an annual report. It was a binder, a booklet
Yeah.
that was handed out to everyone. And I believe the school committee or school department always did an analysis and put it into that.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if it's a specific line by line expenditure. I mean, that's kind of tedious. Because that's what it's asking for.
So I'm looking at the 2018 town report under public schools, and they've got the school budget. And it's administration, teaching, other student services, maintenance and plan operation, district retirement benefits. And that total budget was like 29 million. And then they've got the school department staff, everybody listed.
Wow.
They've got student support services, school health services, and school physician, school health program stats. And then they've got each of the schools, academics, technology, focus. And then they have attendance and retention records for each school.
So it's being done.
It's being done. And that's the most recent one. And that 2018 one was the one that was kind of spotty just because of the transfer of administration. And
Right.
so that was the most recent one.
So I guess to Pat's point, it's got to be put back in there.
I would think so. How does everyone else feel?
I would agree.
All right, then I'll move to include the 5 items that are in the old bylaw and move them into the current bylaw. Recodification. Under school department.
Do I hear a second?
Under 260-4 school commit, where we just moved the annual report.
Yes, yes,
So it'll be 260-5 or no, yeah, part of 260-4.
yeah.
School committee.
Right.
Yep.
So chapter 260-5, you're saying school committee.
No, -4.
Part of -4.
Oh, part of -4, okay.
Because that'll be the annual report. Those
Oh,
are
right,
within it.
okay.
Shall include
Yeah,
the
so-
following A, B, C, D, E.
Right. The report shall contain a minimum of, and then list
The
those
following.
things.
Yeah. Yep.
So just to throw a monkey wrench in,
Oh,
Bill,
geez.
I'm gonna assume the school committee is gonna tell the superintendent that he has to write this for the annual report, of which he's gonna go to the school department and say, you guys need to write this.
Well, no, he collects all the data. Yeah. Because the
I
data's
mean,
there.
it's
You
gonna be
just
the
got to
business
collect it.
manager more than likely that's gonna do it all, which is all the way back to the school department.
Right. Just how you get it done.
But Ralph, that would be a detail of, an operational detail rather than a
Yeah.
bylaw as to
Yeah.
who's responsible for providing it, I believe.
We're making sure that it gets done with the bylaw. How it gets done, I think, is up to whoever. I know what you're saying, but you know what?
Yeah.
Every other department too can do the same thing.
And
I'm
does.
just saying maybe the charter was incorrect in stating that it was the school committee's job. instead
Well,
of
the school committee has the authority because the superintendent works for us. So we can turn
Oh, I
around
see. Okay,
and say, it can say school committee because, like I said, the superintendent works for us. So we can charge anybody to do anything through him.
If you don't like it, you can change it too.
Yeah.
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 All right, I heard a motion in a second. Any
Who
further?
who did the second?
Ralph,
sure,
Did
I'll
you?
say I did it.
Okay. I thought so. I thought that was you.
all right. I'll take a vote. Bill,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes,
Tom,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. Okay, thank you. Moving to A13, page A13, number 150, multiple member bodies, general provisions. Section 1, number 1, I should say, was question 100-001 on page 59 of our hard copy, and I found that it was correctly implemented. And question 2 was on the next page, page 60, and also correctly implemented. Anybody object? Okay, although I found them correctly implemented, I also think that as it reads, number 2, section 150-2C is amended as follows. Each multiple member body is described in Division 1, Part 3 of the Town Code shall elect a chairman and a clerk. To me, the reference is totally redundant. I don't understand why we added as described in Division 1, Part 3 of the Town Code.
What question was that, Pat,
It is
in our workbook?
page 60, question 100-002. I'm sorry, it might be 100-003.
Okay.
003, yeah.
I think, Pat, it's only because the charter mandates that a chair and a clerk are elected, where previously it wasn't stipulated. I may be wrong, but
I've got a note that says unless appointed by town council president.
And so do I.
I have that note, then I have it crossed out.
Yes, but I have it further saying, except for council subcommittees, which are appointed by the council president. So in other words, what I have is each multiple member body shall elect a chair and a clerk, except for council subcommittees, which are appointed by the council president. Anybody recall that discussion? Because I have that written down pretty specifically.
Right. So that sentence is actually saying, as described in Division 1, Part 3, those subcommittees are not listed. Right?
I
Right.
don't think they are, and I don't see the purpose of that Division 1, Part 3. Why isn't it just a blanket statement?
Well,
because the body doesn't elect the chair.
because they're, sorry, go ahead, Ralph.
Isn't it true that the multiple member body itself isn't electing the chair? The chair is being appointed by the town council president.
Hmm?
Per
And
charter.
So, right. So I guess your question, Pat, is the only thing that would be missing would be the committees of the town council that aren't listed in Division 1, Part 3. So the statement is correct.
I'm not saying the statement is incorrect.
Okay.
Perhaps it's there because there may be multiple member bodies who don't elect a chair and a clerk, but I don't know who they would be. But everyone has that note as described in Division 1, Part 3, right?
It's actually,
Yes.
my note says Part 2 because I think the parts got renumbered.
Yeah, they changed.
Oh, right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They changed it, and it's an appropriate reference, I think. But
But point taken, yep.
okay, so I guess we'll agree with that since that's what we submitted. But we also were supposed to submit, except for council subcommittees whose heads are appointed by the council president. And so the question is, I had that definite. Gene, you don't seem to have that.
No, and I don't think that's true about the council subcommittees. Because I know it's not consistent.
I think it's in the
Because
chart.
at one time, the council president would appoint a chair, and now I think it's each council subcommittee appoints a chair and a clerk.
Well, this is in fact a subcommittee of the council, correct?
Yep.
We voted Pat in my first meeting.
I
Yeah.
believe I found it. I believe I found it in the charter. So
Okay.
let's skip over that, unless I can find it really quickly.
Well, it's in council rules too, but that's not the charter.
Ah. Maybe that's
Council
it.
rules under committees, yeah.
I don't have the
So-
charter in front of me.
Don't you know it by heart?
I should by now.
So Pat,
Yes,
I have the charter. So under section 3 of Article 2, which is town council, it says the president shall appoint all members of committees of the council, whether special or standing. It doesn't say necessarily that they're going to pick the organization of that committee.
right, just members. It just says members,
Right.
which is perhaps true. Yes, it is. We have to apply. But that doesn't say who votes for it. All right, so so if we find it in council rules, what do we do?
Council rules are an internal document.
So what I'm trying to understand is a multiple member body that's listed here, the Board of Appeals, Board of Assessors are all appointed by the town manager, not the town council.
Right. But I think the hangup is Division 1, Part 3.
So the question on the floor is, this statement here says the multiple member bodies shall appoint their chair and the clerk. Nothing in the charter says that they can't. The charter only says that the town council shall appoint the members. So where's the discrepancy unless it's in council rules?
The council rules does say standing committees shall elect a chairperson unless previously appointed by the presiding council president, who will organize the committee, etc., and a clerk to record the minutes. So that's in the council rules.
But that's talking about subcommittees of the town council.
Correct.
This is talking about multiple member bodies.
Well, we found nothing in the charter that is in violation of this section here.
Right. What this section is saying actually occurs.
Well, except that we're a multiple member body. And according to the council rules, the council president has the authority, whether he exercises it or not. Is up to
Right.
him.
Right.
So I
But
would
like-
argue that phrase should go in there, but I'll shortcut the conversation by making a motion. I move that the section 150-2C remain exactly as stated in the document, except adding the comma at the end of it saying, except for council subcommittees whose heads may be appointed by the council president, period. And I'll look for a second.
I'll second that.
And I'll look for further discussion. Because to me, it's within the council rules. And it fits here. Anyone else?
I'm sorry, I muted. I had to open some treats for the kids.
Oh,
Can I have some?
What was the last part of your motion, Pat? Except for town council subcommittees whose chair can be elected by the
may be appointed by the council president.
appointed.
Whose
Thank
chair
you.
may be appointed.
Tom?
Maybe.
There you go.
I can't reach mine, so.
Okay, for any further discussion on that point?
Yeah,
Who
so
seconded that?
I seconded it.
Thank you.
Ralph always does.
Okay, When in doubt, okay.
He's
For
a good-
discussion.
he's a
He just
good-
likes the discussion, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess none of those committees are in this Division 1, Part 3.
You're correct.
Right.
So
I'm
there's
confused
still-
about that.
does
But
it
there's
need to
still
be here?
multiple member bodies.
Which is why the word accept is in there.
But I think I like Tom's saying, if they're described in Division 1, Part 3, and the town council subcommittees are not in Division 1, Part 3 specified, then why do we have to refer to them?
So I guess that's what I'm driving at. This whole
Yeah.
statement is,
All
I
right.
see what you're saying.
I mean, the subcommittees are going to go away. We're not, like this, when we're done, that's it.
Yeah,
When the charter's done, that subcommittee goes away.
yeah, some are ad hoc and some are standing.
Right.
But they're still not a part of Division 1. So I'm not sure why we
I understand.
can't
what
leave
you're-
it the way it is.
Would you say, Ralph?
I understand what Jeannie's saying is
Yeah, I do
the
too.
only ones that fit in this are the ones that are actually listed in the bylaw under this.
Right.
Correct.
So
All right.
I think they've already covered what your thought is, Pat, but they did it in a little bit different language.
So-
That's the confusing part.
So I would
that's what I
draw
was
my
trying to
motion-
say. Thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
would
think we
draw
were
my-
all saying the same thing, just
Right.
in
Yeah.
different ways.
Right.
Ralph, will you withdraw your second?
I withdraw my second.
So we're going to accept that as presented.
Correct.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
No,
That's why we like the discussion.
that's right.
I love a good discussion.
All right, the next
Okay.
one would be same page, A13, Chapter 155. I found that this is a Board of Appeals, and I found it consistent with the old bylaws, so I was happy with it.
Okay.
Anybody want to arm wrestle me?
Ooh.
Not with that Jim Beam handle next to you.
All right, then we can move to A14. And that's 160, Board of Assessors. And that is on page 62, question 110-001 in our hard copy. And that was all rewritten by Diane Bishop,
Mhm.
coming from basically the Google Doc. And all Diane's suggestions, from what I see, were adopted, except that the requirement for a report is missing, along with all the details as to what was supposed to be in that report. So here again, we have a similar situation to the school department.
Didn't that report get moved to the department?
I thought it did too.
And that was more Diane's responsibility as opposed to superintendent, school committee. There was no argument from Diane on that for us.
I just didn't want to lose all those. "4070, Board of Assessors. 7 items showing number of parcel, personal property taxes, assessed value, statement of categories of taxes, state receipts. Are you saying that we should find that elsewhere?
Keep her quiet.
It would be under or under assessor's department.
Yep. And they're in, I think they're in finance. This was tricky too, because there was some sort of, there was a lot of state requirements, correct?
I don't recall. So it's 97-4, I think.
Page 77 of 480. So you're right. They don't list it out specifically in the annual report.
On page 62, I crossed out under annual report A, B, and C.
And I think that's because we used the same sentence for everyone, which was
Right.
was all matters pertaining to.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that should
think
count
that's what we
matters.
did.
As required by the town manager, right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Right.
Yeah.
Find. Department of Assessing. Yeah, there's really nothing there, just as required.
Right.
Now there's this whole level of detail that, as far as I know, should probably be included there. A list of exempt properties, a comparison report showing 5-year history of the latest tax rate, total real and personal property valuation, total number of parcels assessed, and so forth. Could I suggest that that was probably removed just in order to maintain the template? But that it probably is not something that should have been removed. So I will make a motion that that should be added back in. And it should be added back in under 97-34 annual report.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. That was Tom, not Ralph.
Yes, it was. I'm lost.
I saw my window.
So I'll entertain discussion. It's made and seconded. If anyone likes it, I could read them.
I'm looking at the. I guess it's not gonna. I guess it won't do any harm in general. I guess is there gonna be more? Do we catch them all?
Well, I mean, that can be said with any department on an annual report. Things are constantly changing. Or the town manager could ask for something in addition.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the minimum of what's supposed to be in there, with the understanding that the town manager can ask for whatever she wants.
I am reluctant to remove something that was in the old bylaws that there's no reason to remove, and that seemed to be actually done in the town report, as was the school committee thing.
Right. Well, did ECO take it upon themselves to remove all of this?
I'm sure they just replaced the section with what we gave them.
Possibly.
And that would make sense. They're not responsible. They're saying, oh,
No.
they're simplifying, they're cutting out the detail. They could care less.
So
Anybody?
Pat, exactly where are we looking to put this? Under 97-4?
Yes.
30.
9734,
97-34.
under Part 4 assessors.
Page
Article
77.
7, Department of Assessing,
So yeah,
Section 97-34.
they got jammed in with finance, so.
Right.
Page 77 on the PDF doc.
So there's quite a bit of information
Oh, I see.
again.
Okay.
There's quite a bit of information again in the most recent annual report online that Jeannie was talking about before. That looks like it's capturing most of that list anyway, which would make sense, seeing as that's the bylaw that's in place right now.
And Tom, we may miss some of the others that we perhaps didn't notice or capture this, but at least we can capture the ones we notice.
Okay. And I wonder, again, if I thought we had some conversations and I might have talked to Diane when I was trying to put the department, all the department descriptions together. And I think a lot of those are, sort of state mandate requirements, the assessing thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
So she could argue that it's not necessary to put this in here since it's state mandated.
But I'm only half recollecting.
I know, I accept that.
I'd be hesitant to remove it because I think that, anybody that looks at this is going to say, well, this has got to be in it. Or if we remove it, they're going to say, where did it go? So I'm kind of reluctant to remove it.
Well, any further discussion because the motion's on the floor to add it back in and second it. I'm gonna take a vote. Bill,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I am a yes.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
don't think it doesn't hurt at all to add it back in, so.
No.
Okay. We're back on A14. Board of Health. You guys can see how interesting this section was. And why Tom is the smarter of all of us.
I wasn't gonna go there.
All right, Board of Health. I cannot locate a question for the Board of Health in the hard copy that relates to this, but I'm sure I'll find it eventually.
Well, it could have been just that attachment with all the departments or the boards.
Yes.
We had the separate attachments.
Well, I found most of the material from this is in the Google Docs.
Yes.
So specifically, some of the new items that are on the next page, like E and F, that are brand new, that were not in the old bylaws, were in the Google Docs. So I'm fine with that. It was written by Amy. We reviewed it. It was from the Google Docs. I don't see anything nefarious. But I did notice that the one thing that is missing that was in the old bylaws is the reference to mandatory recycling. And that's in the Google Doc. So she had added that in the Google Doc, but somehow the reference to mandatory recycling has been removed. Does anybody have any recollection of that? Why we would do that?
She reviewed it though, didn't she? She reviewed this final one.
She did.
I can't find any notes.
There is. It's in there somewhere. I'm trying to remember. If we move one location to another.
Oh, it might. Yeah, you're thinking it might go under
It went under another location,
under regulations.
recycling.
Yeah, it might have gone. I recall the
rules and
conversation.
Regulations or trash or something like that.
Yeah, let's see if we can find it. That would be.
Is that the nuisance thing? What was that?
Oh, you think it's all the way under zoning, huh?
No, it's not under
I was
zone.
thinking traffic rules and regs.
I
Trash?
had that.
I don't see how it would go there.
No.
It's under chapter 395, solid waste.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
that kind of makes sense.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that makes sense where it is then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I just don't want to lose it.
Right.
No.
Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
Jeannie, did you just do a search on that or did you just memorize it?
No, I've got like 5 documents on this little screen and I'm just jumping around. I did not memorize it.
Okay, so I'll go back to my original statement. I found that this was written by Amy. Most of it came directly from Google Docs. We reviewed it. We have no problem with it. So I believe it's stated, implemented correctly, and we can move on.
Yep.
Sounds
Anybody
like a plan.
object?
Nope.
The next one would be on A15, Board of Library Trustees. Is this where we came in before the meeting?
Little bit.
Yeah.
And to me, that appears correct. That's in the hard copy, page 69, question 170-001, page 69. I think it read okay. Everybody good?
Yep.
Next one is Board of Public Works, 175. And paragraph 175-1 is directly from the charter. So I checked on that, it's directly from the charter. 175-2, I don't understand why it's there, since it basically says what the town council needs to do. And 175-3 gives the responsibilities of the BPW and the superintendent in coming up with the rates, coming up with the recommendations.
The
think it's just
council approves them, therefore setting them.
Yes, but this is under Board of Public Works, so it doesn't belong here. It's already in the charter.
So I think this was for historical purposes
Yeah.
because the Board of Public Works has always, up until the change in government, set the water and sewer rate.
Actually set them, yep.
Absolutely.
That's just, it describes the process. That's all.
Well,
I don't think
So-
it hurts to, I don't think it hurts to keep it there.
the process is described in the next section. The Board
Right.
of Public Works shall recommend to the town manager and the superintendent water and sewer rates, capital improvement projects.
But it's actually the council that approves it.
Doesn't belong here.
And when you're doing a search, let's say you type in water and sewer rates,
Yeah.
the heading will come up. But if it's within a paragraph, it
won't.
doesn't come up under the E code, under the searching. There's
Yeah.
certain criteria of what pops up quicker.
I do not believe that obligations of the town council should be under Board of Public Works.
Yeah, so it was just to say that they recommend. Right?
No, it actually says the town council shall set water and sewer rates.
Right.
Based upon the recommendations of the Board of
It
Public
should be,
Works.
it should be written differently. It shouldn't start with,
No,
With
no,
what-
look at 175-3. The Board of Public Works shall recommend to the town manager and superintendent of public works water and sewer rates.
right, when so that one's a full listing of capital
So
improvement.
That
Operating.
covers all of the obligation of the Board of Public Works that's contained in 175-2,
Right,
making 175-2 totally redundant, although I agree with Bill that that's where it came from.
right.
Or I guess it was Ralph that said that's where it came from.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary any longer,
Okay,
especially since it talks about the town council's obligations, which doesn't belong here. So I will move that we strike that its entirety and renumber 75-3. I'll look for a second.
second. For discussion with Ralph.
So with the discussion, I don't think it hurts having it in there. I think people will typically go to the Board of Public Works immediately when you think of water and sewer. And this just tells them, hey, it's the town council's responsibility now. I think for historical purposes and for the general bylaws, it should stay in. Just my opinion.
Well, I said basically the same thing. It describes the process of how they're set and who
So-
actually sets the rate. So
Jeannie, the
Yeah.
document that we submitted
Yep.
doesn't have any of that.
This could be one of those attachments for the multiple member bodies.
I'm in the multiple member, attachment B.
Oh, have you? Let's see.
So was there a different one?
Let me find it.
It's,
There's 5 different attachments, or there are a few of
Right.
them anyway.
right. But, yeah, so B was multiple member bodies, chapter 120, Board of Public Works is page 4 of 21. And it basically has membership terms, appointment, and purpose, and that's it.
Huh.
So
So
I
where
don't
did
know
they
if
get that?
well, maybe they blended something from the old one. That's not even what we submitted.
Did it come from the charter?
So I'm not quite sure what you had, but that's what I had submitted when I sent in all of the multiple member bodies.
Well, okay. Well,
So I don't know where
yeah,
This
they
is-
got
I'm-
what, but
I'm looking at what Jeannie forwarded us, what she had forwarded general code, and that's what
Yeah.
I've got under Board of Public Works.
So you just have the membership, term, appointment, and purpose, just those 2
That's
sections?
correct. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I have too that was submitted. So where else could that have come from? There was no question on it, right?
There was Board of Public Works questions, but.
But not in this section.
Huh?
Not in this section.
Page 63, question
Page
1,
63.
question 120.
So, and that's basically what got put in under duties, right? Question 2. We also wanted to include stormwater rates, which didn't get included.
after water and sewer rates.
Right.
Well, you're just saying.
I've got a
that-
note that says take from charter.
Yeah, you just said that we didn't include water and sewer rates in the document, but yet it says include stormwater rates after water and sewer rates.
Right.
So
Right.
at some point that had to be submitted.
So
You see
yeah,
what-
there's a disconnect between whatever Ralph published, whatever was submitted, and whatever was published by general code.
Sure seems that way.
I'm looking at the charter, and it says the town council shall set water and sewer rates based upon the recommendations of the Board of Public Works and the town manager. So that's exactly where it came from. It came
Yep.
from
Correct.
From the,
the charter.
Correct. And we tried, remember, Ralph, this came up last night because that's in the transition piece, which
Yep.
we deemed historical. So we didn't add stormwater to the charter, but we should add it to the bylaw because that's going to be accurate.
I
that
would
was the
agree.
discussion that was the discussion last night, to add it to the bylaw because it wasn't part of the transition.
So I
Because it hadn't been established yet.
rescinded my motion.
Yeah.
You're talking.
Well, it
the
hadn't been
motion with
established yet
regards
when we
to
approved the charter.
Article 10, Section 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a note here all about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Include stormwater.
Right.
Yep.
So we were trying to make sure we were consistent with the charter. But that section or article of the charter was specifically for the transition of government.
And
Right,
don't
so-
we have a section now in E-code enterprise funds, which covers the stormwater?
I thought so, right?
I
We
thought so.
did,
Well,
we
put it
did,
this way, I know the town council voted in the enterprise fund by a general bylaw, so
right.
it's gotta be in somewhere.
Yeah, we did write-ups for, there was some we didn't know, LCAT,
Right.
water, sewer, stormwater. I thought there was one more. Did those get submitted? Oh, you know what? We jammed those in finance.
The enterprise funds.
Yeah.
You okay there, buddy?
I can't believe we don't all memorize this.
We took too long a break.
It'll come back. Don't worry.
10 minutes for me is too long of a break.
Uh,
So currently we have a motion on the floor and seconded.
And we're discussing it. Do we want to vote?
Well, I mean, Tom was just mentioning that at some point we had the stormwater.
but that would be a separate motion.
Yes.
Okay,
So this motion is to remove that whole 175-2, correct?
Correct.
Rename 175-3, 175-2.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I'll entertain. Bill,
Yes.
Ralph,
no,
Tom,
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Okay, so 3-1. Now we need to look, we definitely need to look at adding stormwater in there. And I'm looking under finance, Ralph, and I can't find,
I don't either.
There's an enterprise funds, but it's just like a one sentence thing.
Yeah, those,
oh, I see it. Chapter 9719,
what page is that on?
9719, I gotta find it.
Oh, I
There's
got
nothing under it. There's nothing under
74.
it.
Page 74. Nope, yeah,
Oh, there's nothing under it.
Right?
right.
Ouch.
It's got to be here somewhere.
Yeah, where did it go? Because it's certainly, we even put it in the old bylaws.
We discussed that a lot.
Was that an attachment that was submitted, Jeannie?
I don't believe so.
Wasn't that sent in
Plumbing?
after the fact? I think.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Because it was just passed.
Yeah,
And I can look up my emails to her to include that, and I think she confirmed that. But just to know, I have to sign off in about 5 minutes.
so Pat, I need to, or I will make a motion under 175-3 duties.
Yep.
That the second line, end of the first line, it says Public Works, water, I would have it add a comma, sewer, and stormwater rates. Would be the
Second.
wording.
Who's the second, Tom? Any further discussion on that? I'll take a vote. Bill,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So that's unanimous, and certainly it's covered under question 120-1.
Yeah.
2.
So Ralph, where does that comma go under that duties?
So in the second line after water, it'll say
Yep.
water, comma, sewer, comma, nope, water, comma, sewer, and stormwater rates.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, seeing we're at the bottom of the page and seeing Jeannie has to bail out and seeing that we're approaching the hour and a half, that's kind of my limit. I don't know about you.
Well, yeah.
That's good.
We used to go 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, we may have to in the future, but
Well, a lot less material this time.
we're getting through it.
Yep.
Any
Pat,
further? Yes,
Quick question. I had sent you and Jeannie the corrected language under the zoning portion that I did. Do you want me to send it to the other 2 members also?
yes, because I think we need to actually bring that up
Yeah, I
Yes.
looked at that and I'm confused.
as part of this group's discussion.
Yeah.
That's what I
That's
thought.
great.
So I'll forward them that, and just so that everyone knows, that came out of an old bylaw. The zoning bylaw was rewritten by Robin McDonald to recompose it, and she missed some of the lines. That's where all of that came in, and then when we
Yeah.
tried to correct it with E-code, the language got all messed up and all, and
Yeah.
but
I think we
can
just need to
verify
rewrite the
that.
whole thing again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it was easier to send them a detachment and say, put this language in just
Yeah.
like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'll send that to them then. I just wanted to make sure it was good with everyone, that I didn't want to violate open meeting law.
There you go.
Well, you're not, yeah, as long as you just send it, no,
Yeah.
no,
Yep.
Right.
No discussion.
For
As
discussion
long
next
as everyone
meeting.
understands, because if I just sent it before that, I'll look and go, Ralph, what is this?
We wouldn't do that.
Never.
You should.
okay. Next meeting. Next Thursday, how's that sound?
I'm going to be at home.
Yeah.
I'll be at home, not doing
I'll be at
anything.
home.
We're not going
I might need a
anywhere.
break, actually.
Next Thursday.
I don't want to lose the week, but I'm not certain that we can meet on Wednesday.
Wednesday's out for me.
Wednesday's out for me and Tuesday is a charter review.
Yeah.
Well, at this particular time, though, that's at 6, right?
That's at
Oh.
4:30.
Charter review
That's
is
at 4:30.
4:30,
4:30, okay.
and there's a
Yeah.
planning more board meeting at 6.
Next week's going to be tough, I think.
Sounds like it.
Yep.
All right, so we need to look forward. We're already in December then.
How about we do a Saturday? We'll just do an all day, knock this out and be done.
It's okay if we can meet
You
at
can,
your
you can
house.
lose
As long as I can
yourself.
bring my new puppy.
We'll meet at your house, Ralph.
Yeah.
We'll go through it.
Thursday the 3rd. or Wednesday, actually, the 2nd. We have a broadband meeting at 3. That'll probably go about an hour, so. You could do
Wednesday at
4:30.
4:30?
4:30 on the 2nd, or 4:30 on the 3rd. There's CPC at 6:30, so
Are we still sticking with the later times? And I thank you again for going earlier this time, but Ralph, later's still better for you?
I'm pretty good. Like I said, if you guys want to do earlier,
Whatever the will of the committee is, I'm open.
What is Tuesdays and Wednesdays calendar done?
Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So Tuesday is Monday's the 30th.
CPC. CPC's at 4:30?
No,
That was a
On
Thursday,
Tuesday?
I think.
That's next week, I'm sorry.
yeah, that's next week.
It's every Tuesday.
No, that's next Tuesday? On
Next
the
Tuesday, we have
20
charter
24th.
review.
Next Tuesday's charter.
Yeah,
And then,
On the calendar, Gene, if you're looking at it,
yeah,
it has the council meeting on there still.
right, and that's off.
That's off, but that's now planning.
What if we did 3 o'clock on Tuesday?
Yeah,
Tuesday, the 24th, you mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
that would give you an hour.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
You could do that. It would be an hour and
Then we
15.
wouldn't lose the week. I mean, Bill, how do you feel about that? You just said that next week's kind of tough, but
well, we got to get it done. I mean, I'll just be sitting here for 2.5 hours.
me
Ah,
too.
that's nothing. That's like a council meeting.
I
So
know.
we're back to the 24th?
Well, that was
Unless-
Gene's
20,
suggestion.
Unless we go to the 30th.
Okay, the 24th, what time? 3 o'clock? No,
I can do that.
what?
yeah,
Jeannie, Don, talk to us.
Yep, it's about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
3 o'clock, Tuesday, the 24th.
Sold.
Okay.
All right. Was that bylaw review?
Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
that's great. I
Sorry,
appreciate
but
that.
I can't really always keep up with what's what.
I
No,
I can't either.
I know it's hard, but we want to try to
Okay.
save time for anything we find.
All right, so I put it in the calendar there. I will send you the Zoom link right as soon as we're closed, Jeannie.
Thank you.
And
Okay, I want to thank everybody, and I'll entertain a motion.
so moved.
Second.
Well, all in favor, Bill,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
and I, Pat, yes. Thanks again, Jeannie. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
See you next
Guys,
week.
take care.